Welcome online at-home sales team and your very first introduction to recruiting. This is a light intro to kind of give you an idea of what's to come within the recruiting training. Again, these are short segment modules. There are much larger, longer videos to show you more in depth certain things like isolating, for example, just Craigslist, just the resume section, looking at just that as a resource. This is more of kind of an overview. So basically what you're going to get is an introduction to recruiting and some of the tricks and some of the tools, the basic functionalities of how to go find a worker, where to go find them, how to put them in. But more importantly, why I wanted to do this short video is to give you the why. Why do we recruit? As a staffing agency, recruiting is primary, as far as our day-to-day functions. I mean, for really two reasons. And so recruiting, the answer to the why, is basically for these two very basic purposes. The first would be that we've sold a project. Now, we've sold a project, and you might hear that called a 911. That's a project that has a deadline like, right away. You would generally just call a sold project a vacancy. That means that there's currently open spots for candidates or workers that we can submit to that project. But more importantly, it all basically means the same thing. One of the first major reasons why we would ever recruit is because we've currently sold a project. We've got a contract in place. They need guys. That could be anything from plumbers to electricians to drywall guys. We'll be adding, of course, many, many more trades down the line. So either way, recruiting primarily, used for a sale. Now, what's the byproduct of that? See, if there's 5 electricians needed, for example, and we have 10 resumes that we found, what do we do with the additional resumes? What happens to them? I don't like to have waste. So what I'm teaching you guys is that byproduct, the waste that we get, the overflow of resumes that you can bring in just from day-to-day activity, we then want to turn around and create product out of that. That's where the salesman steps in. So, you go from a recruiting hat to now I've got all these extra resumes. What do? I will teach you in later sessions how to create a bill rate off of that worker and then turn around and sell them back into the marketplace to another contractor or another client outside of the one that we were first targeting. So that is the general functionality of recruiting in general. You're going to learn things from how to post on social media, to how to use our databases, to how to cross-reference, and how to vet the worker, how to enter them in, how to attach them to a project, how to go look for more workers. There's just all of those things that will come in short segment videos following this one. But I just wanted to give you guys that introduction to exactly what recruiting is and the why. So then you really understand that you're not just coming in to recruit for projects. That's only part of it. You really want to learn how to create a bill rate on top of those workers, the extra workers, or even workers just in general. And then on the sales aspect of it, when you're making outbound sales calls, you typically already have your product available. That's the trick of what we call product selling. Lastly, just a quick look into the apps that you guys use as tools when you are wearing a recruiter hat. If you guys will bring your attention to the bar above, you've got your workers and subs. So if I'm entering in a new candidate or a new subcontractor, which we'll cover later, this is where they all will go. If I have had him in here for a while, and let's say 30 days, and he's not been sold to a current project, then he will get scraped off and slid over to the old candidates or the old sub apps. Now, that's for new submissions. So new people, new workers, new subs, they go here. If I have a project that I'm recruiting for, one of the first places I'm looking is right here, but I'm also going to cross-reference the whatever parameters are set. Like I'm looking for a licensed electrician in Iowa, for example. So I literally, when I'll teach you in a later session, but I could pull up the candidates here. I can use the filter that you guys have learned to use. I can go down and basically choose not only the trade that I'm seeking. So for example, I'm looking for an electrician. I might also need him to be licensed in a very specific state. So then I could choose whatever state that he's licensed in as my second filter. And it will isolate those men. So if I was trying to find men, for example, for they were looking for a Texas licensed journeyman, these would be the 45 guys that I could start with. Basically, updating their information in here. I can call and reach out if there's a way to do that. And if they have not been contacted recently, I'm going to make sure that they're under the new Catalyst docs, that they've signed on, hired on. I can take the notes here of that he's interested, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to show you guys ways to literally attach them or submit them as a candidate to a current project 911 or vacancy that we have available. So that's kind of some general functions and really where your guys' home is when it is concerned with the apps. So you use these two older databases to go back and cross-reference somebody for a new project and or create product out of those old guys. There's no reason why you couldn't turn around and attach a bill rate to them if they're currently available and get them sold onto a job. And then, of course, this is just a fresher version of it. But basically, if you were going to cross-reference to an existing vacancy, a job that we're trying to get men to today, you could also check here. Other than that, we'll move right along to some of the early recruiting videos to kind of show you in short some of these smaller functions where you can kind of learn exactly how to input men, exactly how to use the functions, etc. Thanks.